Here with super middleweight prospect and a man of many talents, that which we're going to get on to later, Mr. Umar Top Boxer Sadiq. Umar, how are you keeping today?
I'm well, thank you very much. Yourself?
Good, thanks, mate. We're down here at the renowned Repton Gym in East London, original home of the likes of Audley Harrison, Darren Barker, Andy Lee. How's it feel to be working in this environment, following the steps of these champions?
It feels great. I like the gym. I boxed here as an amateur, and as you probably would have felt coming in, there's an atmosphere in here that lets you know you're coming into a place of work, a place of seriousness, and you feel the history of all the pictures on the wall. The fact that some of the things are really dirty, like the ceilings.
It's a proper club then, right?
Yeah, it's a proper club. Old school, throwback, and yeah, it's just good to be in an environment in an area where, like you said yourself, a lot of talent has come up in, and yeah, just feed off that energy.
Let's start, if it's all right with you, with the first defeat against Zak Chelli that came last October. On your vlogs, by the way, if no one's seen Umar's blogs, make sure you check them out. We're going to link it below.
YouTube.
But they're very candid, very interesting. You get very interesting insights into fighters, which you don't normally get that kind of access. So make sure you check that out. In one of the blogs, in the build-up to the Chelli fight, you said there were some issues going in. You said that you had some health problems beforehand. There was no time to warm up, and also all stuff broke loose before the fight. And you made it clear that these weren't excuses because obviously you lost the fight, but these were factors in what happened. Yeah. Talk us through what happened. Talk us through what you can.
Without trying to cover old ground again. And also just simply because I'd rather just move on from it, and I have moved on from it. It was just basically simple things like the coach that I had at the time refused to watch the fighter, and I showed him a video of the fighter 2 weeks before. He didn't recognise him. He was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "It's the guy we're fighting in 2 weeks." But that itself wasn't the biggest of issues, because on my day I should be beating Zak anyway regardless. But then on the day of the night leading up to the fight, I woke up in cold sweats twice. That again wasn't an issue. You know, as fighters we go through whatever. But the real issue was in the change room coming into the fight, and when the coach wasn't turning up and saying he was round the corner up until 15 minutes before the scheduled ring walk. And because it was a televised fight, the schedule couldn't be moved. So even though my manager had requested that can we go on later, when it's on TV, it's set. So BT Sport would nudge on it or budge on it. It takes about 45-50 minutes to wrap hands professionally, and you can't warm up until you wrap your hands, because otherwise then you cool down waiting for your hands to be wrapped. So yeah, just under an hour before the fight, finally got somebody else to wrap the hands, and then hands are wrapped. Right there in the wrapping, who's going to do my corner? Shit, I'm doing the ring in like 5 minutes. Finally got someone, and then you know, then my coach finally walks, well, my coach at the time finally walks in. So, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, I wasn't prepared to be fighting. I would have needed a good minimum 20 minutes, but ideally 30 to 40. But unfortunately, you know, I had my hands wrapped, working out who's going to be in my corner. The coach walks in, you're on, get in the ring. Spent the first few rounds warming up, or trying to warm up without getting a cramp and without getting caught cold. And before I knew it, I was chasing the fight. But so many things happened out of my control that night, well, within reason, because I could have just got someone else to wrap my hands earlier, but within reason, that I'm led to believe that it happened because it was supposed to happen. I'm in a better place now than I was before. I'm with a team I'm happy with. We're working really well. We've had 2 fights together so far, and I've stopped both opponents in 2 rounds, which is something I wasn't doing before. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to all the great nights that are yet to come.
I was going to move on to it later, but since you mentioned it, can you clarify your new training team, who you've gone with and how you chose them?
So it took me about 3 months actually. So
take time, why not?
Yeah, exactly. It was an important decision. I wanted to take my time, but I didn't want to take so long that it affected the momentum in my career. But yeah, so after the Chelli fight, I went around training with different trainers, having a word with everyone who had a voice and had something they wanted to share an opinion on. And eventually it came down to working the fine balance between coaches that I feel comfortable with, coaches that I believe I can grow with, because no one's a perfect article fighter or coach, but also people I can work with from the political and the economic side of things, which is something I quickly learned was a big part of boxing. like literally from experience. So yeah, eventually I ended up with Harry Andrews, who's been coaching for 11 years as a professional. He's had he's had British champions and such. And then Lionel Omar, who's the head coach of Repton, where we are now. And he was one of my coaches in the amateurs, and he's on the team because of the bond that we have. I respect his understanding of boxing. And for example, when I was in the amateurs, I'd have a fight, watch the video after, and say to myself, this is what you got to work in when you get in a gym. And I'll come in the gym and he'll tell me exactly the same things. So we were on the same page. So he's on the team for that reason. And together the coaches work well together. There's no ego in the team. We're all we're all working collectively for one goal. And like I said, so far so good. I'm looking forward to the future nights.
You mentioned you don't want to keep going over old ground, but just on the Chelli thing, last thing was said on it. Before the fight, you were quite vocal. You had a little exchange with his dad at the press conference, which I thought sold the fight really well.
Yeah.
People want controversy. People want fighters to be vocal and have personalities,
Yeah.
which you do. At the same time, if you are vocal, you can leave yourself open to criticism because you say certain things beforehand. Maybe things don't go as you hope they would go in the ring.
Yeah.
Are you someone that can deal with that criticism coming in? Can you deal with the haters? Is it water off the duck's back, that kind of thing? Or do you sort of listen?
Yeah, so like you said, it sold the fight well. I think I get boxing more than most boxers as a whole, meaning in the ring and out of the ring. And the fight with Zak was a fight that I felt was flying under the radar. And I did so many things to draw attention to it, like going out to Westfield, speaking to strangers, making a noise at the public workout, getting his dad involved in the press conference. And like you said, these things genuinely drew attention to the fight. And I'll do it again because we are in an entertainment business. People want to be entertained. They don't want to just see people sitting down regurgitating the same old crap. Like if you know what you're going to get, you kind of half switch off, especially in today's day and age. You do make yourself vulnerable when you make a lot of noise. It's not necessarily my personality to do that. I can be quite, extroverted in ways, but not disrespectful. And I recognise that things like that can make you vulnerable to backlash. But listen, I always say, Jesus and Muhammad couldn't make everyone like them. So I've got no fucking hope.
Can't please all the people.
Exactly. So it doesn't bother me.
One thing you also mentioned on your blog was that you were pestering Frank Warren to make the not necessarily the Zak Chelli fight, but to step you up from the opponents you started facing in the first part of your career.
Yeah.
You seem to have no regard for protecting your O, which seems to be a big thing these days.
Yeah.
Do you think fighters want to protect their O too much? Do you think they should take risks early on like you have?
Alright, so if you think of our generation, I know Floyd's retired now, but outside of Floyd, if you think of any great fighter that's mentioned, when did they ever mention the person's record? It's only Floyd, and only because he's made a big deal of it. Like people say, Arturo Gatti was a great fighter, Roy Jones was a great fighter, Bernard Hopkins was a great fighter, Oscar De La Hoya, all these names. But at no point did they say, they were great because they were undefeated. So I think Floyd made it a big deal, and he was very successful. He's the best in his generation. He's the most successful financially as well. He sort of set the blueprint for what an ideal career looks like, and I think because of that, a lot of people make mistakes in forming assumptions or planning their careers. But ultimately, if you look at what the majority are doing, pretty much everybody except that one individual, let's just go out and give the fans fights they want to see. Go in there, do your best. Ideally, you win. But people would ultimately remember you for the nights and events and occasions that you give them, not for the fact that you're 20-0 against nobodies.
Yeah, 100%. Just going back to the fight, the sixth round, it's the first time you were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Talk us through the feeling of being dropped, because it's not something you can train for in the gym, is it?
No,
It's not something you can train for.
It's actually the only time I've been dropped sparring or fighting in my life.
Amateur and professional?
Yeah, amateur and professional. But even then, I was just off balance. So if you watch it back, you'll see, I remember the shot, the impact of it pushed me back, but my feet were way too close. And I'd already started moving back before I had the opportunity to move my legs, so I just had to sit down basically. So if you
look on your face, you can see the close afterwards. It wasn't a heavy knockdown.
I was smiling on the way down, thinking, "Oh fuck, like this is happening." Do you know what I mean? It was more like on the way down, I'm thinking, "Oh, he's gonna get this round unless I knock him down." So it was a balance thing, and it's happened. Was my mentality at the time? Well, you're down now, you just got to get up and try win. So I didn't dwell on it much, and at least now I know what it's like to look up from the floor.
Did you learn anything about yourself? I know it wasn't heavy lockdown, but did it learn that, like, because you came out and then you did well for the rest of the fight?
Not really, because it didn't feel too different to just like stumbling over someone's foot and then the ref going, "I rub your gloves." But the difference was obviously the ref was counting, but I was straight back on it. If you watch, I even like made a miss and did the whole Billy Joel thing. It was for a split second, but still, like, I was more than fine. So yeah.
Time and time again, we hear fighters say that a defeat can be a blessing in disguise. Is that something you can relate to?
I think it's too early to say. What I can say is I'm happier now than I was before. My performances now are better than what they were before, and I think in the long term we'll find out if it was a blessing.
You're now on the comeback trail. You alluded to 2 straight victories with your new training team.
Yeah.
Are you being a little bit more patient this time in asking
Nah.
to be stepped up? You want to jump straight back in there?
I'm actually waiting to find out when my next fight is, and part of the reason why I'm waiting to find out when it is because the opponent determines what show I get on.
Okay.
And I'm hoping for an opponent and a type of fight that puts me high up in the bill, so read into that what you may.
Can you give us any little snippets of who that might be? Not a rematch with Chelli?
No, not just yet, because I don't think I've got enough to offer him right now, he said himself, so that would happen when I do that. But, I mean, I'll fight anyone, man, like I've proven. So I'm asking for certain fights, and it's just a matter of working out if the opponents are A, willing, B, available, and C, if they'll be sanctioned by the board. So there's so many things that are out of my control, and right now I'm playing a waiting game and allowing my team to do their thing.
Despite De Gale and Groves both retiring, the super middle in England is still the super middleweight division in the UK is still a very strong division. I mean, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. You're on the comeback trail, but is there anyone who's at the top at the moment who'd love to mix it with down the line?
Everyone.
Everyone? Anyone in particular? Maybe a John Ryder?
No, I don't actually look at any individuals because you can spend a lot of time looking at an individual. They can move up a weight, down a weight, retire. You might move up a weight, down a weight. The fights may not happen for one reason or another. So my focus is on becoming the best version of Umar, the top boxer that I could be. And when any of these fights come to happen, I'll be ready, not just to win, but to win in style. So yeah, everyone.
You actually sparred Groves and De Gale. If that rematch would happen between those two, who would you be backing?
I wouldn't go out on notice to say anything about that. Yeah.
But it must have been an invaluable experience.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I enjoyed working with both of them for different reasons. They are obviously contrasting individuals and characters, and also in the way they fight. And yeah, best I can say is I enjoyed working with both of them. I learned a lot. I appreciate the opportunity to get to work with them. They were both world champions at the times I worked with them. Actually, no, James before he was a world champion and when he was a world champion. But yeah, I'm just grateful for it. And at the end of the day, it's sparring. You don't know what a person's working on. You don't know what they've done the morning before the spar or the night before the spar. Yeah, you just don't know. It's not the same as fighting, is it? So you just go in there and you learn what you got to learn and pick up from the subtleties and nuances that they bring into the ring. You know, things that they might do to you, or ways they might deal with things that you do to them, and you just pick up and then you go, okay, yeah, those are the levels.
You also spent some time at the Institute of Sport, don't you? Which is, I think, that's where AJ trains up in
Yeah.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little glimpse into what that training camp must be a serious setup?
Yeah, so that's where the GB team train. Very good sparring there. Like myself, when I was an amateur, all amateurs do this. When you spar a pro, you go in and give it everything, absolutely everything. Yeah, for bragging rights, but also because you're thinking he's a pro, he might punch hard, so it's a bit self-protection. So go down there and I get spar with the boys, and these are elite world level athletes like I was before I turned professional.
Gain their respect as well.
No? Well, I go in to work on what I'm working on, but I know that they're coming to make a point, especially when there's more than one of them coming in, and they know they've got 2 rounds, maybe 3. You know, 100 miles per hour, and the next guy comes in. But it's all good. I always deal with it well. I have a good ability to manage pace in the ring. So that always sets me fine. Well, even if a person wants to go 100 miles per hour, I either go with them or slow it down if I want to. So that's great. The sparring's brilliant. It's world class. The setup's professional, like you said. AJ's professional. It's always quite interesting seeing him come in because he comes in after the amateurs are trained, and there's about, I don't know, like 7 people walking in with him, everyone with their own different role. You sort of just look at that and think, yeah, that's the aim at some point. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Have you had many conversations with him up there, or is it kind of like...
No, he's cool. Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're cool.
Okay, sweet. Right, let's get on to some of your extracurricular activities outside
Right.
boxing. You gave up a successful career as an accountant.
Yeah.
The story's been told before, we're going to go for it anyway. Gave up a successful career as an accountant to be a boxer. How did that go down with your family? How did that go down with your employer?
Employer actually was quite gutted because at first I was doing this work that 2 people should be doing, and then what 1.5 people should be doing, but quite comfortably. Family were like, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? How are you going to earn money? Boxing doesn't pay like that." The honest truth is I didn't know how I was going to get paid. I just said I'm going to do it, and I'll get through one way or another. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. It carries on. Touch wood. And it was just a simple matter of, if you're going to do something, do it properly. I wanted to be a professional boxer, and the only way I could think of doing it was to do it full time. So working a job felt like a distraction. Having to ask for permission for days off to go sparring or to go, training camps, going up to Sheffield and stuff. Permission to have time off before fights. All of that just didn't sit well with me. But also, I want to spend all of my day on boxing or boxing-related activities like this. So, yeah, I made the leap. And
Gone all in, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
There you go.
You're a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I think most of the public would associate getting fit, getting hedged, getting ready to fight somebody as eating chicken, going to the gym, putting protein, this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily relate that to veganism.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about who inspired you to do this. I think Tim Bradley was a vegan, I think, as well.
When he was in camp, yeah. No one inspired me. It was just a conscious decision on my own. I'm quite health conscious. I am very health conscious. So the health reasons behind it, we're not going to get into it in a short interview. Moral, spiritual reasons, and also economical reasons. Not for the global, for being environmental reasons. That's it. Yeah. So those are my reasons, and I've been doing it for 2.5 years now. I feel strong. I'm fit, sharp. Ask any of the guys that see me training, they'll tell you. You see my fights, I'm stopping people in second rounds. So clearly I don't need any of that stuff. And a lot of people actually always say you need meat for protein, for power. I was like, well, where does your meat get its protein and power from?
What gorilla is it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So there we go.
Okay. Saw on your Instagram, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that you were in a modelling agency. Talk to us a little bit of modelling. I mean, what do they think about you boxing? Because
yeah, I mean, I went to them when I was a boxer anyway, when I was in the Nigerian Olympic team. So they already knew that from the start. They're okay with it. I just had a casting today, actually. Wish me luck, guys.
what was it for?
I can't say. Usually you can't say. Even when you're shooting, you can't say. But fingers crossed, I get it. I get a role. And the modeling's actually helped me survive outside of working, being able to box full time, because as you know, at the start of your career, you're not getting paid the most amount of money. So it's nice to get a top up from time to time with the modelling. And yeah, it's good stuff. I enjoy it as well.
Cool.
So
Nice
that's
way
good.
to end it.
Yeah.
Extra income. You met David Beckham out on a shoot for, I think it was a whiskey or something. What was he like shooting with him? Was it like, well, David Beckham was going
David,
on?
he is cool, man. I guess, I don't know if it's a public persona or if that's what he is, but what you see is what you get. So, on the shoot, he was just like cool, came and hung out with us, had general chit chats. Try not to ask him too many questions that I know are stereotypical that a lot of people would ask. And then, yeah, and that was that. That was good fun.
And just sort of the last thing, I just want to leave it to you, just to say to the public, to the fans, to people who tune into BT Sports, see you fight, what can we expect for you to come through? We're going to see a new Umar Sadiq. What can we, why should we tune in, basically?
You should tune in because you've got a guy who is 100% committed, has done so by leaving a well-secured job to do what he's doing. It's knocking people out, and he's going to continue to do that. Charismatic, good to watch, easy on the eye. But yeah, so no, really, the plan is to knock on and have very great, meaningful fights, and I'm very confident in the delivery of my performances in these fights. Not just winning, but like I said, winning in style. I box for you guys ultimately. You guys pay my wages, so tune in, pay some wages, and be entertained in the process.
Umar Top Boxer Sadiq, thank you for speaking to pro boxing fans. Good luck in your next
Yeah.
fight. We look forward to seeing how the journey goes.
Thank you very much.